Well, in 1961, the U.S. Supreme Court actually upheld another court order that actually stripped Frank Costello of his U.S. citizenship.
Right.
And he was supposed to be deported. But then in 1964, they actually put aside the deportation because of a legal technicality.
Right.
So
how
did he get out of getting deported?
73.
Right. Yeah. And in 73, he had a heart attack and died.
Right.
So he never got deported.
Nope.
So did he bribe the Supreme Court somehow? Or?
No, what happened was, it was an embarrassing situation that happened. Again, they used Sam Giancana, filmed J. Edgar Hoover and his lover. They buried together. Nobody knew J. Edgar Hoover was gay. They threw a party, a gay party in Chicago, to set him up. They had all these pictures. So they had so much stuff. I mean, I'm going to tell you something you won't believe. Sinatra, when he was protecting all the actors that they were going after being communists and all that, and I have a copy of a 123-page dossier from the FBI, and mine is not marked up in black with lines that they normally send you when it becomes public domain. So, and my new book, which I'll deliver you personally. They asked me to write a book. You know what the name of the book is?
What's that?
Sinatra, the Mob, and Me. I'm disclosing more now in this next book than I did in this book. But I figured I got no lawsuits. The Kennedy family didn't come. The grandchildren, nobody came. So now, what I'm going to say to you now is Sinatra was getting so much heat from the FBI. He made a deal with J. Edgar Hoover. He wrote a note to an agent. He's get this to J. Edgar Hoover. Not knowing J. Edgar Hoover was answering to Frank Costello on a daily basis.
Wow.
And the note said, if you want my cooperation, I'm willing to work with you, but take the heat off of me. He got the note, and he sent it right to Costello. That's when they had a meeting. They brought everybody in. They brought Sinatra to Chicago. And Accardo bitch smacked him right then and there. They called him a rat. They spit at him. They did everything to him to degrade him. And they said, from now on, you sing for us and nobody else, not the FBI. And the day you stop singing is the day you will die. That's why even at the end, it makes such clarity. And everybody's saying to me, why is he still singing with monitors? And because he was still packing the casinos that they owned. He didn't want to do it. He had to do it.
Right, because you always hear these stories about the mob had cross-dressing pictures of J. Edgar Hoover and everything else like that, which people surmised was the reason why J. Edgar Hoover said that the mafia doesn't exist
exactly
in the U.S.
Until
it just
Bobby
doesn't exist. But and he put most of his focus on the Black Panthers and the whole COINTELPRO program, which started in '56 and went through '79, where they illegally
as long as they
infiltrated.
Were getting the headlines. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, so they basically put all the focus on the black guys, and the Italian guys that were doing the real crimes were basically free to do whatever.
No, I mean, I could go even further. They asked me to get friendly with Howard Hughes. And Howard Hughes, I think, was bisexual because the one guy that I knew was his main guy was Walter Kane. And Walter Kane basically was his pimp when he owned the studios. So when he built the aircraft company, they made a deal with him and they gave him a big aircraft contract with the understanding millions of those dollars had to be spent you buying casinos in Vegas because they're not allowed in free enterprise. So he comes there, moves into the Desert Inn Hotel, and he wanted to meet me. I wanted to meet him because there was a guy. And he wanted to meet this guy. And Wilbur Clark. I knew all these guys. And guess who he's got with him? Bill Dana, Bob Mayhew, all CIA guys. That's his cabinet. That's who's running his company. So I knew that. I report to New York. New York says, get close to this idiot. And then what they didn't know, they were doing a drip. The CIA was doing a heroin drip on him. And that's how they killed him over the years. Because what they infiltrated all the casinos. They had FBI dealers as 21 dealers, FBI agents as cocktail waitresses, because they knew they were losing all this tax money and trying to find out how they were doing the skim. See, there was 3 count rooms, not 2. The money that came into the cage was counted. Then it went to another room. Well, that room, whatever they took and who had keys to that room, they took, that went to the final count room, that went to the banks. But that middle room, they didn't even know where the frig it was. And I had a key to those rooms all my, because they'd leave what I needed to do in a travel bag and told me be there then, I'd get it. There's no cameras, there's nothing in that room. But they never got to that room. They actually operated the casinos for 3 or 4 years before the mob finally got out because they were getting too close to it. But I mean, there was so much going on. And by that time, they already had 4 American presidents. They had Truman. They had Nixon. They had Ronald Reagan. These guys were their guys. So that would embarrass the whole democracy of the United States, knowing the mob. That's why when they wanted Hoffa pardoned, they went to Nixon because Hoffa found God. He was going to come out and he was going to get the Brotherhood back and rat out Frank Fitzsimmons, who was running it all. I just borrowed $32 million to build a hotel. And I signed it on a napkin. That's the due diligence they did. But I had a drawdown loan, and they told me who to use. Ernst & Young had to be my accounting firm. I had to use a bank out of Utah, the Valley Bank, Perry Thomas. The money went in there, but thank God I didn't do one drawdown because they were waiting. They've been waiting to indict me for 100 years. I never slept in a jail. I never had handcuffs on. I was involved with certain things that the 3 murders I did were all self-defense. But I knew how to do this stuff because I had guidance. If you came after me, I'd say, here, stab me, do something. And then after you stab me, I'd take you out. But, that's why Costello, he had a dossier on all these presidents. And all he wanted to do was stay in the country, leave me alone. He had his family. He was a tremendous family man, Costello. And that's it. It's funny. I mean, when you say, why didn't they? Why didn't they? That's why.